a Honkai Star Rail planet where we get cartoons, cars, idols, high-tech American-inspired cities with life forms created out of people's imaginations. Are we talking about Planarcadia or Panaconi? Similarities between the planets are obvious, and it's easy to understand the frustration when Aerostar got cancelled because of conflicts between China and Japan. But we got a delay in its launch, and the Honkai Star Rail devs worked their asses off to give us the best experience possible. But did they accomplish it? Or did they just brought back a Penacony prototype for this patch? After already half the version and having spent lots of hours in Naha's creation, I think we, Blooming Kitten, have the answer. But first, let's explore all the elating things that Planarcadia has to offer in the first part of the 4.x cycle, starting by the Trailblaze mission of this batch and its characters. We think that this story uses the POV perspectives perfectly. We have seen some people complaining about POV usage in the Star Rail, but we think that this patch shows how good it can be. All the parts connect smoothly, and we have politics with Himeko, Weld, and everything Pearl and IPC related, while we have a whole criminal world story with the boys, Tingyun, and the Stolen Hunters contacting Ashveil. And finally, a whole adventure that included a school episode with our little gays. Yes, Bob, gays. Estelle is the canon one here for me, and don't dare to say the opposite. Hey, I'm not gonna say anything. In an alternate universe, my boy Kaelus went with his boyfies and was kissing Danheng just before meeting Tingyun. Which, talking about Danheng, oh my fucking god, I'm begging for more Ranhen content. Like, guys, have you seen the prediction of Yaoguang and also the blank page of Blade? And oh my god, no one here came to hear you tell your faggotries. We can have another video for Blade later, so focusing on this. Science adventuring! Honkai Star Rail has been developing character psychologies in such a deft way that they keep producing banger after banger of characters, and Sparxie and Sparkle development here is just their last masterpiece, which with the whole aesthetic and the two personas and the streaming really reminded us of needy streamer overload in a good way, which is also getting an anime adaptation pretty soon, but well, we'll talk more about Sparkle, identity problems, and needy streamer overload in its correspondent videos. But the whole process to defeat the Sparxie and how we got a glance at the underlying conflict with the Phantasmoon games and the Herald of Death was just wow, gave us goosebumps. Also, talking about our streamers, we are now at Sparxie, but if you want to have some related fun, you can join us every Friday at 9 p.m. EST. We are currently playing Resident Evil 4, but as soon as a new Honkai Star Rail patch drop, we will be playing its story, an event, and reacting live to it. Well, in conclusion, the story, despite feeling like lower stakes than Amphorius, the collectibles and the just right mix of politics and mystery with the Herald of Death give us the setup for an amazing story that could maybe, big maybe, offer us the first death of a playable character in a Hojo game. Now, talking about the event, it was so wholesome and cute to see all the developable characters once again, including our babes Seal and Bronia, and the cutest Pila and Lynx. Like, oh my god, they were so freaking sweet and shapeable with the whole comics and mangas thing. Oh lord. Plus, the little board game has been a blast. Love these kinds of events so much. Also, Punk, can we talk about the secondary missions? Like, we had a detective case with a serial killer, which honestly never thought we will have something like this in Star Rail, and even less thought that will not only include Ashveil as a detective, but also Sparxie there? helping was, oh my gosh, was so cool and allow us to explore more about the imagine and idols, which hopefully we can see more of them. But part of me thinks that with the Sparxie here, probably the next patches are not gonna have that much stuff about idols. What about you, Punk? What was the secondary mission that you enjoyed the most? Hmm. Well, if I have to pick a secondary mission for myself, it's probably the one of the Labyrinth game. It reflects the pressure that so many storytellers face with the ending of their stories. I feel like could easily be a reference to famous mangakas nowadays, like Gege with Jujutsu Kaisen or the Shingeki no Kyojin one, where some people in the fandom were so mad about the endings of those that even some tried to create an alternative ending manga, which, oh my gosh, that those cases are a whole other cans of worms, but can also be extrapolated to Western storytellers like George R. R. Martin or Patrick Rothfuss with their stories Unfinished, and so many people praising them for being some of the best writers, but also hating on them for not finishing. Plus, it's also a very good detective case with Ashveil intervening, and even so, I don't like Ashveil design personally. I feel like his investigations are gonna be peak in the next batch. Hey, I do. Asheville is so husband material. He's just so silly and so cute. I love the whole narrator gimmick and everything. It's just, oh my god. I'm so excited for 4.1. Also, the little mini games have a lot of variety. You have a little Flappy Bird one, collect coins while trying to avoid monsters, a little falling one, and also the whole playing with 2D and 3D perspectives, which personally is one of my favorite ones. And don't forget the whole Furbos stuff. I just love those kind of little management games. I hope we get a whole event dedicated to them, outside of obviously more a story about Nihilux and, well, all the stuff having to do with the manga. And yes, let's call it manga because it's even being serialized. Like, it's pretty obvious that originally was just gonna be straight up as Trailblazer manga. And talking about these mini games, there is a lot of homage to classic platformers like Mario Bros. And as you can see in the screen, neither of us is good at platformers. But I just loved collecting all the little coins and the whisper for cheating in the video games machine. It's probably my favorite planet in mini games and little coins stuff. Also, talking about those video game machines, the little codes to introduce, mimicking the PS2 and other games with little teeth to enter, are just so nostalgic. Before going to our conclusions, we have to remark some very cool parts of the planet hidden in the books of this, like the story of the ghost, which is also important in one of the secondary missions and maybe key to the whole Himeko plotline. Like, for example, what if Himeko itself is a spirit of obsession born from Himeko's desire to explore the space and the Astral Express? Also, don't forget about the little orcs part. I just love that. Like, it's just mocking how, till recently, lots of Tolkienian fantasies depict the orcs. And happily, D&D and others have stepped away from these in recent times, but yeah, it was just fake comedy for me. In conclusion, we think that despite it being originally a full manga, Japanese themed world, like, come on, the streets have that Kabukicho vibes, and the school arc felt out of an anime, not to mention the river that was an evident homage to Dotonbori, and the gangs being clearly a whole love letter to the Yakuza series. We think that the developers did a good job reworking it while not losing what inspired them in the first place. Honestly, when we saw the trailers and all, we were the first ones to call them Penacony 2.0, as our friend Ruth can testify, who, by the way, is the one who made our models, so please go follow them and commission them. Their art is just awesome. Also, if you love Skara from Genshin Impact, you can't miss on our friend Nikiri, who made our little emotes. He makes very big Skara says art. Oh my gosh, I love Skara. Pop, we are deviating of what we were talking about. Oh yeah, sorry. Returning to what we are saying. Yeah, we thought that was like Penacony 2.0, but and we found out that even the devs saw the similarities. Like they just mock themselves with this little part of our girlies getting to the city in a similar way that we got to the golden hour in Penacony, and how it still reminds us that we are used to it because of that. And then we also get this little Penacony birdie in the tavern. And even Clocky makes an appearance. My beloved Clocky. Yeah, it's just clear that they didn't plan on making other planets referencing Western animation. But they did their best and gave us a world full of deep lore, like the Campus Age and Besa in Tengoku. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Well, with the whole Grapha part, like imagine if Nihilux is another descendant of Grapha and maybe Himeka's lost sister or something. Really, who knows at this point? We only know that this planet is a blast and promises a lot of fantastic things for HSR in 2026. So please, we know that it wasn't what we all expected and not what the creators initially planned to do, but value the hard work of so many artists that were involved in this and had nothing to do with the political issues that caused the change. Also, talking about the fantastic things in 2026, check out our video about the new BL and GL releases for this year. Because pretty some sad things are coming in the world of the anime too. And well, have a wonderful week, our little fruity seeds. Bye bye!